2019 has just ended. We started a new year, and as you know, this is the period during which people are making decisions, having big goals for themselves. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. It's so good to have all those goals for yourself. You always need to look at yourself, look at your life, look back, see what you did, see what you can do, and go for it. But on a universal scale, the years mean nothing. So if you have to make a big decision for your life, you can do it anytime. Whether it's April 24th or January 1st, it's all the same. The earth is still spinning around the sun. It doesn't even know what year it is. So making plans and making decisions, that's up to you. Sticking to them, it's up to you. It's up to you to go for it. So it's good to have those goals, but all of that will not be possible if you don't have any control over your time. In this video, which is the third part of our series on personal development, we're going to talk about time, and I'll give you 5 tips that you can use to better manage your time in order to reach the goals that you've set for yourself for this year. If you are new to this channel, my name is Guy, and in my videos, I talk about science, tech, motivation, and self-development. So subscribe to stay with me and get all the notifications when I have new videos released every week. In a world where things are moving at a very high speed, it's very important for you to have some basic notions of time management. In our 2 parts of this series, we focused on your responsibility in putting your life in order and your commitment of knowing what you are really doing with your life. There's a quote that I really like, which is a variant of the Murphy's Law, which says that when things are left to themselves, they always tend to get worse. So it just means that nature doesn't always give the best if it's left to itself. That's why your contribution is very important. You should always have the worry of doing things the best way possible. It's the same with your time. You must manage your time as an asset at your disposal that you have to use jealously to get to your goals and achieve whatever you're dreaming for and whatever you set for yourself. We all have so many hours in a day. This is the active ingredient that determines how many tasks you can do during the day. I was able to analyze the time management techniques from great achievers like Elon Musk, on which, by the way, I intend to create a video because what he's doing is just very impressive. He has 5 companies, actually a little more than 5, which he manages as a CEO, not only as a CEO, but also as an engineer. He's a lead engineer in most of those companies, and he's very much involved in all the stages of production. And you ask yourself, how does this guy get so much time to do all of that? And by studying people like him, I've drawn 5 tips that you can observe to achieve your goals and increase your productivity. The first tip that I'm going to share with you today is that you need to be organized and track your time. To better manage your time, it's very important to plan and know where your time is going, where you are spending your time. Each hour of the day must be accounted for. Don't just be someone who wakes up in the morning without any schedule or any program and just embraces everything that comes your way. That's not be productive for you. Have a calendar. You have to know how long your tasks are going to take you. You also have to plan in excess, preferably, so you can account for a lot of things that are really unforeseen or unknown from you, or you can't just control. You don't have to be a CEO to have a calendar. Anyone can have a calendar, even if you are unemployed. So there are many tools that can allow you to track your time by having a calendar. My favorite tool is a Google Calendar. It's pretty good because you can synchronize the calendar in your different devices, your phone, your tablet, your computer. That will increase your productivity. You can create reminders, meetings, and share them with your friends, your customers, or your clients, or anyone else you have to meet with. There is also Google Keep, pretty good for keeping your notes every day, and you can review them and allocate time to work on those notes or things that you assign for yourself. Google Task is a good example as well. I'm a big Google fan, so that's why I usually go with Google. But there are many things or many programs out there that you can use. Microsoft OneNote is one of them. You can take your notes, you can write down things. Calendars are everywhere. Everyone today has a phone, so you can use that phone to make yourself useful, to make your time productive, to get the most out of it. Use your phone, use your tablet, use your computer, and it's always recommended to leave a little time between your various tasks that you have. So if you have multiple tasks during the day, you need to leave a little room for, unforeseen situations or anything that'll come up. The second tip that I'm going to share with you is that you have to discipline yourself and know how to say no to certain things or solicitations that are simply a waste of time for you. I will admit that at some point in my life, I was suffering from an illness that a lot of you will identify with. I was watching a lot of TV and I couldn't stop until I've watched the whole thing, like the whole season or all the seasons. That is something that I struggled with, but I learned how to say no. I learned how to watch a single episode a day, spread them out, and do some other things, and that is a very productive way of doing it. This is something you can control or regulate. Watching TV is good, but you can't be spending all your time doing that all day, every day. That's not productive. Another example of knowing how to say no is when a person comes to you and wants to use your time for a certain thing. You need to know how to say no to those kind of situations. If that thing was not planned, you can't just be available. You can't just be there to whatever task they're giving you to do. If it's your work, if it's a job, that's very understandable because you have a set of time, usually 8 hours here in the US, to put to your job. You need to be working during those hours. But outside of that, you need to have your own project. You need to have your own things, your own tasks that you're working on. It might be just going to the gym or doing whatever you can do. But if someone else wants you in their programs, they need to let you know in advance. I told you about the calendar. You need to have that in your calendar, preferably at least 2 weeks in advance. And of course, it depends on the situations, depend on the urgency of the situation, the affinity that you have with that person or the degree of affinity. But in general, you have to give value to your time and not be available all the time everywhere. Or some phone calls that you may receive from friends during the week when you're busy and you spend hours talking on the phone. Of course, also, it depends on situations, depends on the urgency, on who's calling, on what's happening. But in general, you need to be disciplined and put yourself in a situation that you don't spend your time doing things that are useless. As I said, Saturdays and Sundays are there. You can use them for making calls and, catching up on whatever you've missed during the week. But it's good to have your time on track. The third tip is that you have to know how to prioritize. Start with the bigger task and go to the smaller ones. In general, when you have many tasks to do, the larger ones are usually the more tiring. So you should be working on those first, starting with those big ones and then go down to the small ones. Once you have the big ones figured out, you will have time to work on the smaller tasks without any problem. This plays a big role psychologically because when you have a big task that is bothering you, you will be stuck even on the small tasks that you had to do. So you will not make great progress on the small tasks. So that's why you need to get rid of the bigger task first, and then you have your attention toward the small task. This is not to be confused with what I said in the second part of this video, in which I recommended to celebrate small achievement. I was talking about small achievements that are contributing to a bigger goal. Let's say you have a certification to take and you have to pass 5 exams. You need to celebrate each exam because it's leading you to the bigger goal, which is the certificate that you're looking for. And preferably, the big task should be done in the morning when you have the most energy and the least fatigue. The fourth tip is that you need to do one task at a time. Many of us are under the illusion that you can multitask or do more than one thing that requires our attention at the same time. The reality is that this is completely wrong. The brain cannot focus on 2 tasks at the same time. For example, if you're talking to a friend and there's something that's happening in front of you, you won't be listening to what he's saying. You will not catch anything of that speech because your attention is taken away. So brain studies have shown clearly that when it comes to attention, you can only pay attention to one thing at a time. So the next time you'd like to work on your paper or whatever you want to write and you decide to do it when watching a movie or watching a TV, one of these 3 things will happen. You will probably finish your paper on time and you will do it well, but you will have missed most of what happened on the TV, or you may finish the paper, but it will take you twice the time it will take if you had your attention focused on the paper only. Or you can still finish a paper, but very badly done because you had your attention drawn away by the TV. So if you feel like multitasking, be aware that you are compromising one of the tasks or maybe all of them. But it's not bad to do something carefully when you're doing some other things that require less attention from you. You can do many other tasks and combine them, and that will be okay. The fifth tip is that you need to take time to rest. Rest is very important for your health and also for better results in whatever task you're doing. This is why breaks and lunches are required by law. So you should always know how to take a break and get somewhere, regain your strength and return to whatever you were doing. So also take all the time you need to rest and relax after efforts, and don't neglect your sleep. It's natural cycle that we can't escape from. So you need to sleep enough. You need to have a good night of sleep until you wake up by yourself. No alarm or anything like that. That's very useful. Of course, some people are working during the night. It's not bad. You just need to make sure that even if you're sleeping during the day, you have enough time to sleep and wake up rested. Speaking of rest, also, you have to know how to delegate certain tasks to other people. You can't do everything by yourself unless that task requires you and you only to do it. If you are very overwhelmed by a lot of things to do, know how to ask some people's time, know how to pay for some other people's time. You don't have to spend a lot of time on a task that you could have paid for and get it done in less time. All right, that's it. Those are 5 tips that you can use to better manage your time and achieve your goals in 2020. If you haven't watched the 2 other videos, like the first 2 videos in this series, they are available in our YouTube channel. I'll also leave the link in the descriptions. So don't forget to subscribe for more videos and content on science, technology, motivation, and personal development. Also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.